I decided to, at 39 years of age, to shift gears and change career. And my wife said to me one day, "It's time to quit your job." Flat out. I was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" She said, "Just do it. I don't want to hear you talking about this nonsense anymore." Or we'll go to a party and they find out I'm a chef. They want me to go on the grill or on the barbecue. I'm like, come on, really? Like, do you think this is all I think about doing and cooking all the time? Come on.
I'm aware of that. Those reality shows are far from reality sometimes. They're produced like anything else. And I'm not saying they define the winner beforehand, but, you know, I'll let you say that. But
I'll definitely get to that. I'm under no contract. There's no NDA that I would get in trouble for. You know, that's way past.
Hardest part of ending is starting again.
You're listening to the Radcast. If it's radical, we cover it. Here's your host, Ryan
How's it
Alford.
going? Thanks. Pleasure to have being on.
you know, professional chef, content creator, host. You know, every guest we have now seems to have, you know, like 12 things they got their hands in. Expert cook, entrepreneur. You know, you got your hands in a lot, brother.
Yeah, you got to stay busy. You know, I got three girls right now. So if you're sitting back and relaxing and you're sleeping, you're in trouble.
I know, man. I can relate. I can't relate to the girls, but I can relate to the kids. We got the blues and the reds going on. My four boys, your three girls. Like, you know, I can't even imagine a teenage girl. Is it as crazy as it sounds?
Yeah, 1,000%. There's no sugarcoating it. No sugarcoating. My friends and oh god, I mean he's a good kid, this guy, but you know it's scary. I was his age at one time, so you know what goes in my mind.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to that. You know, I know you Masterchef and a lot. You've done a lot since then. But let's give everybody a little bit of that background and your story, and then we'll kind of dive into what you've been up to, and you know, talk about the business of cooking.
I decided to, at 39 years of age, to shift gears and change career. I worked in admissions for many years, college admissions, for-profit education. I worked for Career Education Corporation for a long time, and culinary school. I decided it was time for a change. You know, I was unhappy with what I was doing. I felt like I wasn't being able to be creative and, you know, using my entrepreneurial mind. And my wife said to me one day, "It's time to quit your job." Flat out. I was like, "What the hell are you talking about? Quit your job? You realize we live on Long Island, one of the most expensive places to live in the country? I'm just going to quit like that?" And she flat out supported it. She said, "Just do it. I don't want to hear you talking about this nonsense anymore. You know, every single day we hear you complaining about how you're not happy." So she saw an article the day she said that to me for Masterchef. They had an audition in New York City. And one thing led to another. And fast forward, it's been a hell of a ride since then. Absolutely.
What's your how was Masterchef? You know, how was the experience for you?
It was an incredible experience. You know, I was able to cook for Gordon Ramsay, Graham Elliott, Christina Tosi, and we'll get to that. There's a funny story behind that. And I was able to, you know, really show what I could do and have them taste my food. And I focus on Italian and Asian cuisine. I do what's called Itasian, which is a fusion of both the cultures. And for Gordon Ramsay, who's one of the most decorated chefs in the country, to be able to sit there and cook for him and him actually try my food and not rip it apart and say how he enjoyed it. And he said, "Jonathan, you have some of the best mushrooms I've ever tried." And he called me one of the best cooks, Italian cooks in America. And I was blown away. Did I go as far as I wanted to on the show? No, but look, only one person can win. They only choose a certain amount of people to continue. And remember one thing, it's TV.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm aware of that. Those reality shows are far from reality sometimes. They're produced like anything else. And I'm not saying they define the winner beforehand, but you know, I'll let you say that. But
I'll definitely get to that. I'm under no contract. There's no NDA that I would get in trouble for. You know, that's way past. So I'll tell you a little behind the scenes action. Yeah, definitely.
How's Is it like a fraternity of sorts, like MasterChef is into what, 10, 11, 12 seasons now? I mean, do all the past, present, future, do you guys keep up with one another?
Yeah, you know what? I could definitely tell you that it does become a close knit group of people. You have your friends, you have people that you associate with on the show. I talked to some people from season 5. I was on season 6, and then some people now. So you do get to meet people over the way, and everyone does root for each other, and then there's a lot of support going on, which is great. People think a lot of these shows that there's a lot of negativity. That's more on the fan side when they watch the show. Everyone thinks they can do what you're doing, which is great. Then go and audition for it and see how easy you think it really is. So, the family bond, yeah, it's definitely there. There's a group of people I have some friends with that I still talk to on season 6, but people go their own ways. Everyone's in different parts of the country. So, it's not like we're able to meet up for dinner or anything like that. So, Facebook, Instagram, that's a really good tool to talk to people. And we also have iPhones, so we could do FaceTime if we had to.
What's since you are a cook and you might be Italian.
We'll get out of
Joking. What is your style? I mean, what is your approach to cooking?
I like to keep it simple. I don't like to overdo it. I like to highlight the ingredients so people can actually taste what's in the food. I like to be able to build many layers of flavor so you can enjoy yourself. It's more about putting you like in nirvana, right? We want you to go out into a different place and not have something that you've normally tasted. I might take like a classic chicken palm dish and just flip it upside down and maybe add some hoisin sauce to the marinara just to give you that smoky, sweet flavor. And that's what I do with Itasian. It's really more giving different flavors than just saying, here you go, it's a whole new cuisine. I didn't recreate or create a cuisine. I just made a fusion that most people weren't used to eating and trying to give them something that they can say, wow, this is different. I like it. I enjoy it. So that's really what I focus on, is that rusticness, comfort food.
Yeah. I always fascinates me people that, cook for a living and having cooked at home. Like, and my wife and I say this sometimes, like, sometimes when you cook all day, the last thing you want to do is eat. Like sometimes I get excited about. I'm a big dude. I get excited about eating and like food, and but when I cook it and I spend all this time, like even some of my favorite meals, then by the time it comes to eat it, like I'm ready for a glass of wine, but I almost don't want to eat it. Like is it the same way for you guys?
Yeah, it's the anticipation, right? Like most people anticipate, they're ready to eat, ready to enjoy themselves. There's times I cook for. I just did a party the other day for a nice family. They're doing a gathering in Orient, really nice home right on the water. And I came home and I was like, I don't want to see any pots, any pans. And you know what I'm doing? I'm calling in Chinese food. It's easy, it's quick. Let someone else cook for me and have something to drink with it. So a lot of times when you're cooking, you're tired. Chefs, they're working long days. They're on their feet. There's myths out there that they're sitting on crates and stuff like that. That is true. We're sitting around what's around us. We walk in the icebox to cool off. It's to really, it's part of the lifestyle. Do we cook for ourselves all the time? No. I have friends that come over and what do you think they want me to do? They want me to cook for them. Or we'll go to a party and they find out I'm a chef. They want me to go on the grill or on the barbecue. I'm like, come on, really? Like, do you think this is all I think about doing and cooking all the time? Come on, let's hit the brakes a little bit.
What is your favorite thing to eat?
Chicken wings. I'm a chicken wing beer guy. I love Buffalo Wild Wings. There's a plug for you guys, Buffalo Wild Wings.
There we go. The Radcast brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings today.
Yeah. So, I love going, things like that. I like making my own ribs on the grill. I'm a barbecue guy. I like the pulled pork. I just had the other night, made a kick-ass ribs. We made that in the oven, and that's just what I enjoy eating. It's simple. You don't have to do very much. You let the oven do it, or you let the grill do it, and you walk away. As Ron Papel would say, set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it. I had wings this weekend for college football. That's one of my
how'd you go?
favorite, you know.
Nice IPA, enjoy yourself.
The wings were good, the games was not.
Yeah. I'm a
Clemson.
Jet fan, so you kind of saying what I'm going through right now. 0-3. Zach Wilson, come on, man. 7 interceptions, your first 3 games. Jeez.
Hey, rookie quarterback, you're going to go through it. We're dealing with it a little bit with young quarterback. We're more college people down here. Clemson's
It's big down there.
shit in the bed early a bit, but we'll see where it goes. I want to close out a little bit. We're going to transition into, things now, but, back to the MasterChef stuff. I mean, what was the biggest thing, like your biggest learning, your biggest takeaway, and like, where did that kind of, take you from a trajectory standpoint with where you went after the show?
Sure. Well, I saw it was an opportunity. I told my wife when I went there, no matter what happens on this show, even if I get kicked off the first time I got there, we're going to turn this into an opportunity that's just going to go for years to come and build into a business. So I saw it as a chance for my food to get on a larger scale and to show it into a bigger audience. So that was one thing I took away from it, was the opportunity to have a lot of people see what I can do on a big platform, which was, you don't get that all the time. It's very hard to get that, especially if you don't pay for it, right? So that was one thing. The other takeaway was watching how production is done on these shows. And it was in the back of my mind, well, you know what? Why don't I start my own production company? I could make shows very similar to this on a smaller scale. We don't have to have, the $10-15 million budgets like these shows have, but we can definitely do something very similar. And that was something that was in the back of my mind. I started creating concepts in my head for the time I was even down there. I have a whole notebook when I was down there for Masterchef. I even predicted the winner on the show when I was down there before the show even happened. I have that in one of the spiral notebooks that I have. So that's when I started really learning and taking stuff away from that show.
Is to that end, you predicted the winner, and back to the earlier comment, like, was it talent? Was it personality? Was it? I mean, what led you to that, and how much does that play a role in the show?
When I got down there, so I'll give it to you in a nutshell how it formed, right? My season, they decided to do a 2-hour premiere. They never did that before. It might have backfired on them a little bit because they didn't get the best ratings that they've had in the past. It's kind of packing too much, I think, in at one time. They should do just the 1 hour. So for that season, when I arrived, we're blindfolded for real. Like, we don't know what's going on. They hide everything from us. They separate us in different parts of hotels. My season 8, we're gonna have 20 versus 20. It was gonna be like a tournament style where it would have been Chicago versus New York in the cooking aspects, and that was my part where I had to do. So we were in different rooms where we would do practice cooking. Everyone would be in groups, and they grouped us up with some people that had some over-the-top personalities, and you could tell right away who was going to be on the show, who wasn't going to be on the show. So I started writing that down every day. When I got back to my hotel room, I was drawing pictures, making out where we had the kitchen set up, and I was able to pick who the top 3 were right away, based off of, I'm not going to say talent, because, cooking for that show, yes, we're really cooking. No one's switching out plates. There's no assistants. You're cooking on the fly. A lot of things are happening. Mistakes are made. There's been injuries, right? It's all legit. There's no tricks that are done by anyone there on the show. I want people to really understand that. But in a nutshell, it's not just cooking that wins these shows. It's not. And no matter how people want to say that it's the opposite, it's a mix, right? You have to have a personality that goes with what you're cooking, if that kind of leads you to what I'm getting at. They have schedules to follow and a story to put out. And a lot of what happens with the winner is it relates to what's going on in the environment in that period of time and what's going on in that culture. And MasterChef is real smart. They know how to put their product out there during what's going on in the news, what's relative to what's happening in the world. So they kind of know what they're doing. To say that they pre-picked the winner in advance, that's a crapshoot, I guess, if you want to call it that. We'll leave that thought process for everyone out there to have that in their minds. Is it fixed? That's what everyone thinks. I'll leave it alone on that one.
Well, they do have to. You actually have to perform, right? So,
right.
I mean, they could have it in their mind who's going to win, but if they completely fell flat in the cooking of it, like you said, they've got to put it all together, right?
Yeah, they got to put it all together. And look, they film a lot, right?
Yeah.
When we got on the set, the first day we get out of the van, they put us in these vans. We are mic'd up within a matter of 2 minutes, and the mics stay on. They don't leave. I went to the bathroom with the mic on. They walked us to the bathroom. Like, we can't go anywhere by ourselves. So we're quarantined, really, in a nutshell. And they're filming, and just it's rolling the camera. So they can do pretty much anything they want. It's a magic of television.
Yeah.
So anything can happen.
Yeah. Well, Noah Sims has become a good buddy of mine who was on season 10. I don't know if you know Noah. He's crazy.
He season 10. I had a friend, Mike.
He's 6'7". He's a giant, and he's a Southern boy, long hair, cowboy Sims, essentially.
Okay.
He's awesome. But he had a lot of the same thoughts you did. I think he was third runner-up, fourth runner-up. So he did pretty well. But he shared a lot
further than me.
Well, he's a good cook, but he's got a personality too. I mean, you could see he played well on TV, and he's a great dude. But he shared a lot of the same perspective as you did. It's been consistent with the show. What's been so since the show, like, what's been the talking about the business and marketing side of what you do? Like, what's been your channel of monetization? Like, how's this been a business for you? How have you made it a business, since the show in the last, 4 to 5 years?
So the minute I came back from Los Angeles, the day I landed, I had a website up in a matter of seconds, right? Power of Wix. Went on there, have a background in design, was able to build something that would get me a blueprint, right? When people start searching for you, it's not about social media. At that time, it wasn't as powerful as it is now. I mean, we're going back 6 years ago now, right? So things have really picked up speed on social media since then. So I built a website. I started doing shows and events and just getting out there, not relying on television, because that's 15 seconds, right? They're going to forget about you very quickly. So you have to really monetize that first and build yourself and get the awareness and the credibility for people to see who you are, and also be searchable, right? When people start hearing your name, they're going to go on Google and they're going to start looking you up and saying, oh, wow. So I had to try to get press. I never paid for press. You had to get out there and start getting local newspapers is where you start. Contact a journalist, give them a pitch, give them an article that is worthy for them to put in there, and they'll put it to their publishers. They'll push it. So I started doing that right away. I started crafting up stories and ideas and get rejected on a lot of them, but some of them went through, and that's what you needed. You had to be searchable on that. And that's how I started to build now that credibility to build the business. And I started doing events where people now are paying me to do dinner experiences. I'm now able to be searchable. And in the first year after I got back from Masterchef, we did 50 events. None of them were paid. We did food shows, New York City Food and Wine. We did Chop Live. We did Iron Chef. And now I'm building a reputation. People seeing the food, they're tasting it. They're seeing my personality again, not just relying on, being on TV for 10 minutes, right? That was really important to establish myself, because there's going to be a lot of naysayers. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to rip your ass apart on say that you're not who you really are. You can't do it. You're full of crap. You're a fake. You're a fraud. I've heard all those, Ryan. You have no idea. No idea, right? I've had people tell me to put my finger in an electric socket and get electrocuted. No joke, right? Craziness. And you got to have thick skin. You got to let that stuff pass by.
Well, there's a lot of hurting people out there. I mean, anybody that goes that far, it's really easy to judge and it's hard to do. And so that comes with the nature of the beast of social media, unfortunately.
Exactly. You got to let that stuff slide, right? You have to have a thick skin, especially when you're in the public eye now. Yeah, you're going to be exposed to your lifestyle and what you do, and people are going to see it. You got to be able to roll with it. Like my wife would never. She's Sicilian. She sees some of that stuff on social. She's ready to attack. She's in attack mode, right? She's ready to kick some ass. I'm like, yeah, hold on. No. She's a little bit of a quiet lady, but when she sees her family getting attacked, she's a bull in a china shop, right?
Yeah.
So started doing that, started building that, getting the groundwork in there, which was really, really important. And that first year, it was tough. You know, there was no money coming in. I was scraping by, making sure that we were building it. I had a great support system. My wife saw what I was trying to do. Year two, we did over 100 paid parties. We built that foundation. We built that framework. We started getting out there. We didn't post any flyers because we were trying to build more of a niche, a luxury type of dinner experience. At the time, no one was doing it here on Long Island. I was one of the first to do in-home dinner parties, and it took off. And then we started doing them in other parts of the country. So I had to build a plan. And then year three, we said, you know, we can't continue to do dinner parties anymore. We have to do something else. We started doing paid ticketed events, themed pop-ups. So we would do different pop-up experiences, tastings, and people would buy tickets right through my website. And we would sell out tickets. We do 75 to 100, keep it down, intimate, and we make it entertaining. We had, you know, people who had radio shows come on, and they do the radio shows inside the pop-up. We had a really cool thing. It's a Long Island Cuban and bourbon experience, and it's a trailer that he has those silver streams. And he came, and people would leave the pop-up, and they'd go have a cigar and bourbon in the trailer. There was a red carpet. So we made it an experience. It wasn't just food, right? So we started doing those. So we did probably about 35 of those, 40 of those events that were paid. And we just started building a reputation of just having these amazing themed dinner experiences, and just moved along. And each year I tried to do something completely different. So now we're in year 6 since I've done Masterchef.
So I know you're big into content, things like that, and
yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about, you got a new show coming up, Cooking at Home with Jonathan. Am I saying that right?
At Home with Chef Jonathan.
At Home with Chef Jonathan.
Yeah, we're not going to be just focusing on cooking.
Okay.
So after I did Masterchef, I was able to do a bunch of other TV shows, and I always like to be in front of the camera. Started doing a little acting. You know, I wasn't going to be anything huge because I wasn't looking to do anything that would take up a lot of time.
Right.
So I would do a lot of like extra background work or fill-in type of stuff. Did a couple of seasons with Miss Maisel, a couple episodes, things like that. So I started doing that. And the reason I did that also, so watch how they film. You know, you have to learn. I always thought learning on the job is the best way to learn anything. So again, I'm using these little nuggets of stuff to be able to bring this to what I really want to do, which is set up my production company. But you can't just throw it out there. You have to know what the hell you're doing, right? So I started doing that, then did Chopped, which was a lot of fun, and moved along. And I said, you know what? After MasterChef, from what I was telling you, I had some ideas to do my own show. Wrote a bunch of different treatments. Didn't like any of them really. Just didn't seem original. Didn't seem creative enough on what I wanted to do. And after in 2019, right before the pandemic hit, November, we launched our show called Family Kitchen Revival on Prime Video. In the first week, we were in the top 10 trending new TV shows, which was phenomenal. And we wound up being in Forbes, we were in Good Housekeeping, we were in a ton of magazines. And the premise of the show was we were going to 8 families here on Long Island who have experienced extreme hardships, either mental, physical, financial, whatever was happening at that time. And these people were looking for a way to get their story out, one, but also a way to thank the people that really helped them through the toughest times. And my idea was, let's craft something where food is involved. You know, food is the heart to everything. It revolves everything, right? You're at the dinner table, all the stories come out when you're eating. So I said, you know what? Why would they have me come to their home and use me as the thank you? We'll cook the dinner together, use one of their family recipes that has been in the family for years, fix it, make it newer, make it more modern, easier, more affordable, and they can give that back to the family that helped them, their friends, relatives, as a thank you dinner. So that's what we did for 8 families. And the show just was a huge success. And then the pandemic hit like a few months later, which was crazy, and we didn't know. And a lot of the topics that we covered were relative to what happened in the world at that time, 6-7 months later. So now we're working on revamping the show a little bit so we could have a second season. And we were in the middle of selling that internationally for distribution, but it's still currently on. It's on Roku. It's on Apple TV, Samsung, Fire, all those streaming services. And you could download Glue TV on any of those streaming services. The app is free, and you can watch eight episodes. So definitely take a look at that. It's a great show. Really inspiring. So now At Home with Chef Jonathan is a completely different show, right? So it'll be cooking and having entertainment. We'll have live guests. It's going to be where you can have a cocktail with me right in. We'll cook some of the recipes that you sent to us. Some of the celebrities are going to cook their recipes. And it's going to be in my home. It's going to be in my garage studio. And we're going to have fun. So it's not like a live audience, but it's going to have that live feel where you're going to feel like that you're in the home with me, which is the main goal.
It's interesting, the pandemic's changed a lot of things, and I think you're pivoting a little bit with the at home and being smart with how you do the business. How have you felt? I'm wondering, from a chef's perspective, you got delivery now and takeout. Some of my favorite restaurants, which I love, the takeout just isn't as good as eating it there.
Right.
And I do want your perspective on how this has changed food and certainly, the evolution of the show.
Sure. Look, a lot of the high-end restaurants, they weren't set up for takeout or delivery. It's just not what their module is, right? They're built for luxury experiences. You go to some of the best restaurants, let's say in Manhattan. Unfortunately, they weren't ready for that. And who can be, right?
Yeah.
This was an absolute disaster in a nutshell, especially in the culinary industry.
Yep.
Am I a fan of the delivery from restaurants that put out dinners that will cost you $150, $200 a plate? No, it's taken away from what they do. Right? You can't sit down and have a glass of wine. There's no pairing on what their food is. There's no artisticness behind the chef, his plating. You're paying for that chef's ability. Throwing something in a tin or a foam container and saying, "Here you go. Let's put it in a hot box and we'll send it out." Very few of those restaurants are going to make it for that, right? Yeah. It's more like the chicken and the hamburger type of places that could thrive. Hey, look, I love that stuff. There's no question about that. But it's very hard for those restaurants to make that switch. Only a handful were able to do that and offer a slim back, cut back menu on that. And you're just not getting that experience. So I would never do that. That's not who I am. That's not part of what I offer. I'd rather take the loss than compromise on what I put out there as far as my product. It's like when people do discounts on stuff, right? Why are you discounting yourself? It shows you obviously not, your business isn't selling. You're putting a discount out there. That's like a last resort, or there's a sale, right? It's just, to me, it's a weird marketing tactic, especially for food. You're not trying to sell a car. It's completely different, or clothes. So to me, that's a no-go on that. And hopefully it changes. Hopefully we see more light at the tunnel.
Yeah.
But
how's so with At Home with Chef Jonathan, I know you described the show and things like that. From a business perspective, you're self-producing, correct?
Self-producing, yeah.
And so, will you bring on sponsors? Will you use certain ingredients, certain I mean, I can see a million different ways with which you could potentially monetize with that. I mean, can you talk about some of those avenues you're exploring?
Sure. So in the industry, as far as entertainment, right? Everyone wants to be on a huge network. There's advantages and disadvantages of that, right? Disadvantage, there's no creative control. You lose your IP. It's just what it is. You have to sell it your rights to them. You're not going to get the money from commercials or sponsors, product placement. There's no monetization. Let's say the show does a huge success and you're a cooking show. There goes your cookbook. There goes any products that you could develop from the show. There's a lot of revenue streams that you can have from that. There's apps. There's virtual cooking classes. There's so many things that you could do. So that's why if you're in this industry, it's always great to self-produce. If you know how to do it, and it's not that tough, it takes a little bit of work and research, but there's ways to monetize hugely. And that's the benefit for myself. Sponsorship money is huge. Products want to be in front of actual people that are going to buy stuff, that are going to view, right? Look, Instagram and Facebook, it's great, right? There's a little bit of monetization there, but it's very hard to get a customer. It really is, because you can't control when that customer is going to buy, right? With television, it's a different story. It's more real time. You can interact more with them. You could set up things that would link directly from the show to your webpage. There's a lot of ways to monetize. With streaming services, like let's say Roku or Hulu, you get paid per every time someone watches it with a unique view. It's not like YouTube. It's not watching something for 30 seconds. They actually have to watch the ad. It has to go through part of the stream of what's happening. There'll be revenue share from the actual networks that you're on, be it Prime, be it Hulu. There are the shares on that. Apple TV kind of sucks. They really are. They're kind of ball busters, but it's what it is. That's the opportunity. There's product placement, no matter what kind of show you are. Let's put a can of Coke there, right? You're advertising for them. If you set it up with them in advance, you could have product placement for 10 episodes with them. There's a huge amount of money to be earned there. So, potentially the money's there. It's just knowing how to use it to your advantage.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're going down the right paths for sure. Where's it all headed, man? I mean, it sounds like that's the future. But where do you want all this to go? I mean, what are your, I don't know. What do you want to be when you grow up, man?
I've been trying to figure that out now for a long time. I launched JS Entertainment in 2019. Should have launched it sooner, but we launched it right after we put Family Kitchen Revival out there. We wanted to see how that would do, and it's been a great ride from that. And I'm a creative person. I don't like to be tied down to just doing one thing. So to say where I am 10 years from now, the goal is to be what I'm doing right now. Hopefully everything falls back into place and nothing happens to me during that period of time. Can't predict the future.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of other shows that I'm working on, concepts. One's going to be a cooking competition show, which is going to be a lot of fun. I can't say the name right now, but you will definitely see this show on TV in the foreseen future. And it's going to be where it's going to be flipping competition upside down on what you see in all those cooking shows on TV. That's going to be something I'm working on. And I'm working on a couple of reality-based TV shows that would be kind of like Keeping Up with the Kardashians and stuff like that, right? So it'll be in that format. So I just like producing stuff right now, creating, being both back of the camera and front.
There you go. I love it. Well, really smart for you, for the self-production standpoint, especially like you said, if you know what you're doing, from a control perspective, there's so many opportunities, with sponsors and content and everything else. So kudos to you for taking that route. I know it takes some courage to kind of go that route and carve your own space, but kudos, man.
Look, you know what? You have to take the punches in the face, right? There's going to be a lot of a lot of the people that you reach out to, sponsors, whatever it's going to be, that's going to just say no. It's not in our budget. You just got to keep moving forward. If rejection is something that is going to be a major issue for you, the entertainment world is not the right place for it at all. No way. People see the success and they think it's easy, right, Ryan? You know that for a fact.
Oh yeah. So Jonathan, I mean, where can everybody keep up with all things going on with you, the new show, and everything else?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple places you can get me. I'm big on Instagram. So you can go to Chef Jonathan S to follow me, and that's ChefJonathanS, like Sam. That's Chef Jonathan S. And that's all through social media, no matter what platform it's on. But you can go to my website, which is chefjonathans.com. You can catch up with me there. I post different events on what's happening. We will be putting the links on my webpage to watch the new shows. If you want to go watch Family Kitchen Revival, that is on all the streaming services. You just have to download Glue TV, just like any other app on any of the streaming devices that you want to use. And that's on Roku, Apple TV, Samsung, all that stuff. You can watch that show. Definitely let me know what you think on that. And we also have a new show coming out, At Home with Chef Jonathan, which will be on some streaming services as well. We'll be filming that in October, late October, so it'll probably be on sometime mid next year, hopefully sooner if we can get it done quicker. So that's where you can follow me on that. And I do a lot of live events. Live events are coming back, which is great.
Yep.
I do a show called Getting Saucy with Scinto, where we cook on stage and we have the guests interact, people that are at the show, and we'll throw food to you. It's a lot. We can't do it anymore. COVID really screwed that up. But we'll have drinks and stuff like that. We cook with alcohol, so hence Getting Saucy. Yeah, we might get a little drunk up there on stage. Have a little fun.
I love it, man. Well, keep up with all things Jonathan S on Instagram, and I really appreciate you coming on the show and learning more about you, and let's stay in touch, man. I know we could probably help each other down the road, and I'd love to help with promoting the show any way we can.
Thanks, Ryan. Good being part of you guys now, and enjoyed it. Good conversation.
Sure, brother. But hey, guys, you know where to keep up with us. We're at the radcast.com. Search for Chef Jonathan. You'll find all the content from today's show. I'm at Ryan Alford on all the platforms. Follow me on TikTok for all the highlight clips. We'll see you next time on the Radcast.